Welcome to In 5 Minutes. Now we'll see how we can write functions in different way and how we can call it and what is the utility of a function writing in different ways. There are three ways we can write a function. There is no compulsion as such, only how to follow syntax. See, first way of writing function we can say is function without parameters and function without return type. In that case, we keep the arguments part, that is parameter part, empty, and the return type for the function we write as void. We have seen such example in previous video. We written a simple demonstration function xy that prints hello C on screen. So such function is without parameter and without return type. In that case, we keep the parameters, that is arguments, empty, and also at the return type we mention void. Function doesn't return a value. Now such a function is called just by its name and open close bracket semicolon. Now this function is commonly written when there is a fixed predefined task for a function. The example I can give over here is function clear screen, that is CLR_SCR. It is CLR_SCR, we write open close bracket semicolon. Here we are calling a built-in function CLR_SCR which performs a fixed task of clearing screen. There is no parameter over here. We can see it's just a function name open close bracket semicolon. Since its task is fixed, there is nothing required. The next way we can write function is function with parameters. Here I written a function with parameters but no return type. So in that case again the return type here will be void. So function doesn't return a value. Now all these things will be very clear as we go for some more examples, but for the time being just understand what I'm saying. So while defining a function we write function name, then in bracket we write arguments. Arguments is supposed to be list of variables and then some statements in the function. In this case, when you call a function, we write function name and parameters. These parameters will be supplied to the arguments. According to values received in arguments, function will perform some task and generate the output or do some calculations. So now this time the task performed by function will depend on what parameters are given to the function. A simplest example we can see is a very common function, that is printf. We write printf and in open close bracket we write something. It can be anything that we want to write. Even we can write variable names also. So printf has a fixed task, that is print something on screen, but what that something is that we mention as argument or that we mention as parameter. If you write printf with some format specifiers and we write multiple values a, b, c, those a, b, c will be printed on screen. Or it can be simply printf with hello, just prints hello on screen. So printf has fixed task to perform, that is print something on screen, but what to print that we can decide. So here it is depending upon how user invokes a function and accordingly it performs a task. The third way of writing function is we write function with parameters and return type. Now again, while defining a function over here, we write function name, arguments, and then as a return type we mention over a type of a value the function is supposed to generate or a type of value the function is supposed to return back to the calling process. In this case commonly it written like this: some variable equal to function name in bracket parameters. In this case the program works. When the function is called, program jumps to function carrying the parameter values to arguments. These arguments are processed by the statements and some value may be generated, and that value is given back to the left side variable, and function gives value back to the main process. As main can supply values to arguments in a function can also return value back to main process. So this is function with parameters and return type. The type of a value we are supposed to return over here, that we would write over here. It can be int, float, pointer, etc. We discussed it previously. It cannot be array. Now example of this is typical power function where we write something like this: z equal to POW x comma y. Here x and y are the parameters which are processed by power function. So these are given to the function. Function processes the x to y, generates some answer, and that answer is given back to z, and in z variable we receive that value. That value we can further process in our program. So main calls power function, supplies x and y to function. Function does some process with x and y and generates some answer and returns back to z. And that z value we can process further in our main program. So you can see its syntax is looking almost like this. In the next video we'll see a proper example of second and third way of writing and calling a function. Thank you.